Hello everyone, welcome to Royals at the Ranch for Thursday, December 16th, 2021. I am Lori with Behavior Education at Spirit Keeper Equine Sanctuary, and this is Amunet, also with Behavior Education at Spirit Keeper Equine Sanctuary. As you know, Amunet is one of the very first two Royals at the ranch, and it has only taken her about 2.5 years to get settled in enough that she's starting to come out of her enclosure voluntarily. She's starting to do this a few times a week, and I'm really happy about that because she can be in videos with me. Hi, what are you doing? You just decided that I'm okay and you're not afraid to be out? That's really wonderful because I have a group of Royals that I got as older juveniles that were, I think, between 6 months and 18 months old, 4 of them. And they have been less than amenable to handling. There's been some striking behavior from them. There has been balling up and hiding head behavior from them. They haven't acclimated as well to training. They learn the training, but they sort of hit a roadblock when we get past a certain point. I then got a group of younger Royals to compare them to that were between the ages of 3 weeks old and 11 weeks old. And that is Sarek and Pavlova and Feather and Romana, some of these darker ones that you've seen in videos, Ahsoka. And you might be wondering, well, you haven't had those that long. And you're right, I haven't had those darker ones very long. Some of them only been here a few weeks. And here I've had Amunet for over 2 years and you've barely seen her. And I'm wondering if the age that the animals are acquired at has an impact on how well they adapt to life with a family and in a very stimulating environment. So that's kind of what I'm trying to figure out right now. And I'm going to make some comparisons between the two groups. I only have 4 that I got at several months old or over a year old. And then I have several, I think 6 now that I got between ages 6 weeks or 3 weeks old and 11 weeks old. And then I have the 2 adults that I got at 5.5 years old to compare with each other because they were raised in different circumstances as well. So just lots of comparisons with the Royals. And that is because I'm seeing so much disparity in the individual temperaments and personalities of the individual snakes. So this week's Royals at the Ranch is going to be a few different segments of some different activities. Let's go to segment 1, which is going to feature Pavlova. And you just watch and I'll narrate and tell you what happened to her this week.
So here's the deal with Pavlova this week. I had her enclosure door open. I do this often to help her habituate to activity in the room and to habituate to my smell and my husband's smell and the dog smells, and just so that she can get a better view of what's going on, because she seems genuinely engaged in what's going on outside of her habitat, and she often does end up coming out and climbing supervised on the activity stand that's adjacent to her enclosure. Well, my husband and I got busy. We were getting a fecal sample from the corn snake that lives below her. And we got all caught up in doing that and making a video about how we're submitting that to the lab. And we forgot that Pavlova's door was open. Several hours later, after I made this other video about the corn snake, after I worked on homework for finals week, it had to be 5 or 6 hours later, I went into that room and saw the open door on Pavlova's enclosure. Almost had a heart attack. I just thought, oh no. And so we subsequently started our systematic search for the snake. And we found her 3 rooms away, climbing up a wall. So I'm very thankful that she was safe and that she decided to climb up and remain visible instead of going to ground somewhere where it would have been difficult to find her.
Next up, you're going to get to see Sarek. I have to say right now that he's probably my favorite Royal at the ranch. And Sarek went to his first vet visit yesterday, and that was just for a simple wellness check. He was microchipped and samples were taken so that he could get tested for nidovirus. And I'm not sure if she's also testing for paramyxovirus, but he's going to have viral testing done just as preventative, just so that I know. And he just had a wellness check just so that he can start building a relationship with our veterinarian and her staff, who fell in love with him. And I'll just let you watch the video. You're a good boy. He says, I know.
Who loves the camera?
Oh, you know what? Dr. Pfaff and her staff absolutely loved Sarek so much that I had to make sure that he was in his carrier when we left the vet and that somebody wasn't trying to keep him there. They just went on and on about his color and how beautiful he was, and they just talked about how outgoing he was, and they just absolutely fell in love with him. So he had a really successful visit to the vet. He didn't seem all that fazed by it. He was tired when we got home, but it didn't stop him from eating later that night. So I don't think it bothered him too much. Now let's get an update on Fulcrum. Fulcrum is our he's 6 years old now, but when he arrived here, he was 5 years old, 5.5 years old. And he's our adult royal that came from a rack situation and wasn't exposed to any environmental stimulation in or out of the rack. And he's had a little bit of difficulty learning that he has agency and that he can make behavioral choices and that he can actually make decisions. So we had a little bit of a breakthrough this past week.
Fulcrum has been with us 9 months, and he ate his 3rd meal since he's been here. I'm not especially excited that he ate. I'm very excited that he responded to the target. He saw the target and immediately oriented towards it. He came out of his enclosure all the way to the opposite end of the enclosure and right up to the target. And then he took the jumbo mouse right off the tongs when I presented it to him, just like he'd been doing that all along. It was like he had an awakening or something. And the footage you're seeing now is right after he finished eating. I didn't even get that on film because I didn't expect anything to happen. I've offered him food so many times and paired it with the target, and nothing has happened other than he oftentimes investigates the food and pushes his nose on it. So I've always known that he understands the target is associated with food. But the way he responded so saliently this week, and then look at how excited he still is after finishing his meal. He's responding to activity outside of his enclosure. He's moving around in his enclosure. And after this night, he's also been moving around his enclosure more every night since he ate this meal. It's like all of a sudden, he just woke up and realized he can leave his hide and move from one end of the enclosure to the other. And he can decide to go in his humid hide if he wants. And he hasn't come out yet since being in this particular enclosure, but he has come up to the door, and I've opened the door and he has stuck his face over the substrate shield. I'm just excited that he seems alert and he seems bright and he seems engaged in what's going on around him because he's responding to me, he's responding to movement, and he just responded so well to the target when he saw it that I almost didn't even know what to do. And I didn't expect him to do anything, which is, again, why I didn't get it on video. But I think he looks great. You guys that have been following his story since I told you about him, let me know what you think. And I will, of course, keep you updated about his continued progress and how he's doing. And the next time I offer him a meal, I will try to get it on film. And then I'm sure nothing will happen, but we'll see.
Well, everybody, that's all for this week. No special segment again. Let me know what special segment you would like to do the next time that I do another one. And just to remind you, those special segments that I have been doing have been training talks, behavior breaks, words of welfare. I think those 3 special segments are the ones that I had been incorporating into the first several Royals at the Ranch videos. I hope you enjoyed Royals in your home. Please send me photos and video of Royals in your home to behavioureducationllc@gmail.com, or you can send me those through Facebook Messenger. And until next time, everybody, please remember to always be kind and love your animals.